Can you like not go into
Okay,
the
Sophie, you might want to mute.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So why don't you just introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Floris. I'm Dutch.
Great.
What should I say? About anything? We will have frozen. What will happen?
You're frozen as well. Oh my god.
What happened?
I don't know, your Wi-Fi is...
I have full bars, so it's not my Wi-Fi.
I don't know whose it is then. So, you said you struggle with confidence? Oh my god. Oh my god.
Am I allowed to make a bloopers?
Yes, please. Now it's gone completely. Then his computer just shut down.
Oh, great.
Just
Introduce myself.
introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Floris. I am Dutch, but I've lived in Luxembourg my whole life.
Which grade are you in?
I'm in grade 11.
Cool. So what kind of learning disabilities do you have?
I have both dyslexia and dysgraphia. Dyslexia is a reading learning difficulty, so I have problems with reading just at random periods of time. I have and then with dysgraphia, it's a writing learning disability, so I struggle with spelling certain words even though they might be really easy.
Yeah, I have problems with that too, so so what are some strengths and weaknesses you have?
I think a weakness is especially reading in class is a big weakness for me, because I'm not that confident when reading out in class because I'm scared of messing up. So it's kind of it kind of demotivates me to speak out in class. But a big advantage is that I can make excuses really easily. It's always the best. And people are always like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," and I'm like, I don't really care. It's just funny to see people's reactions when you tell them you have a learning disability.
I mean, you shouldn't really use dyslexia as an excuse, but I mean, it's good.
It's just funny if I misspell something. I'm like, oh yeah, I have this, and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. It's actually kind of funny. I'm not really bothered by it, so I don't see any advantages in having it.
You don't see any advantages?
The advantages I can get extra time and stuff like that, but usually I don't really need it. So it's I can get the extra help, which actually some of it is actually quite nice. So there's getting a reader so I can understand the question better, or any sort of things like that. But it's at the same time I'm just it's more of a disadvantage because I'm more insecure in it, during class time or something like that, or I'm scared of asking people, how do you spell this? Because then I know they would make fun of me, which I don't really care about. But it's still kind of nerve-wracking, you could say.
Yeah, I understand that. It is nerve-wracking at school.
Really nerve-wracking.
Like you said, you have a reader and you have extra time. Do you have any other kind of accommodations?
well, I go to learning support, which is actually quite nice because I can get like extra time on my work, and like it's actually quite easy to have a teacher there to help you.
Yeah.
But
And they can like explain it in another way so you can understand.
exactly. I don't think I have any other ones that I know of. I don't know.
Do you not have a computer?
Oh yeah, there we go. I keep forgetting because yeah. I don't know. I keep forgetting about the biggest ones, but I do have a computer and that's really it. Computer, extra time, and a reader.
Those are good to have.
Really good. Especially with writing, because then my hands don't hurt for future exams.
Yeah. Me and Sophie talked about like we're very creative in a way. So do you think you're creative because you do film, right?
Yeah. I can be creative if I go off of someone else's idea, right? So if someone gives me like a general idea of something, I can go expand it very quickly into something bigger. But like inspiration doesn't really come to me very easily. But it used to when I was like a little kid, from like stories that I've been told from my parents. But like now it's I'm not that creative. Just if I get inspiration from others, then I'll expand it very easily.
Yeah. It's a good to have like a jump board, I guess you can call it like that. Yeah.
Like
a springboard.
It's a lot easier for film, especially like I can go off of previous films that I've seen, right, and then get my own inspiration on like a character or whatever. And that's what I did. That's what I'm doing right now as well with my final film. I have a story which I got from different movies, so it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, so you can like bind them together.
Yeah.
Are there anything you're coping with right now, and what's difficult? Like you said, you're having problems with having the confidence to speak in class. Is there anything else? How do you cope with it in class? Or I don't know.
I just try to be like not try to speak up too much, like depending if I know the subject or not, right? I try to kind of not stand out so I don't get called on, which is which isn't good. But like on the other hand, if you don't feel confident, I try not to like, if it's a class of 18 people, it's not that hard to not stand out, because if you don't say anything, you'll be fine. But then the teacher will be like, oh, Floris should speak up more in class. And it's like, but I don't feel confident just because I'm scared of messing up and then people laughing. It's like kind of that's the whole issue with it. But I have too many coping mechanisms. I just kind of deal with it really when it comes.
You just roll with it.
Exactly. Like at this point, I don't care.
So are there any tips you would give to younger people who have the same kind of learning disabilities you have?
Don't stress about it. It's really, the people are there to help you, even though the teachers might be really annoying. But it's actually kind of an advantage of having a learning disability, even though it might seem as a disadvantage. Is a really big advantage because you get the extra help that other people don't, and the people who are there will help you throughout, like through the whole way, and you'll have less classes, so it's like more free time.
Yeah. How are you dealing with the IB? Is it good?
I'm surviving. It's all right. Like especially with the IAs now, I'm kind of struggling. Well, I'm gonna be struggling just with like the time management and having to focus on the like tests that are coming out, the exams. It's just kind of having to juggle the extended essay, the TOK presentation, TOK essay, IA for math, and both for me as well for business. It's just kind of, it's going to be difficult, but yeah, that's what we have myself to.
You just have to be organized with your time.
Exactly. Like there's nothing much you can do other than asking for help when you need it, and just putting, like, for example, I have a board where I write everything down. So whenever I pass along, like if I pass it, I can always check what I have to do, if there's anything else that I still have to, like, what I just kind of have to do and what I've done, so I can cross it off and then write something else there.
That's a good way to stay organized.
Yeah, pretty helpful actually for me now, especially.
Yeah, with
Forgetting
everything
a
that's
lot of
happening.
Yeah.
I think that's the same for everyone, even those who don't have challenges, the time management.
You guys have anything that you guys do outside of school to cope with like struggles in school?
I mean, like, as you saw me at the gym yesterday, like that's what I do to calm myself down with all the stress.
Yeah.
But I mean, I normally go swimming, but the swimming hasn't started at school yet, so yeah.
I just play squash and go ride my horse, but I also own her, so that's just an additional stress. But it's fine.
But at least you guys have something to do like outside of school.
Yeah. Keeping the mind busy.
Exactly.
What are ways that you deal with stress, Floris?
Some of them aren't healthy at all. Then there's others where I just hang out with my friends and play sports like you guys, and it's kind of, sometimes it's just kind of my alone time where I just kind of listen to music, or where I watch Netflix and just kind of don't feel like doing anything with anyone, where I kind of just seclude myself into my own personal space, and it's like, this is nice. But then there's other times where I just go out and just have fun with other people, with all my friends.
Yeah, I mean, alone time is good as well.
Definitely. Especially in the beginning of quarantine, it felt so nice not having to deal with anyone. But then after a while, it kind of gets depressive, where it's like you're alone 24/7 with your parents, and it's like,
I want to get out of the house.
I don't want to get away from my parents.
Yeah. At the moment with online learning, how you going about it? Are you feeling good about it, or stressed, or?
Oh, you already know how I feel about it. I am behind of everything. I have 2 poems highlighted in my book right now for English. Out of how many did we do? Like 5, 6?
Yeah.
There's 2 that I've done. One is barely annotated. One is more or less kind of annotated. So English, I am failing it.
You're not going to fail. You just have to.
Technically, I'm not failing it, but I'm failing right now. And then it's just all the subjects that it's just kind of, it's way too easy to get distracted. It's not as easy as it was last year with during COVID, during lockdown. It was a lot easier for me to handle everything, because it's kind of like I could do nothing and still pass, because like we barely had any work. But now it's just kind of like the teachers are expecting us to do the work and expecting us to do everything, even though we're on the computer like 8 hours a day, and then we have to extend it past to our free time. It's kind of like usually when we're at home, this would be the time where we would just relax and just watch Netflix and be on our computers. But they expect us to be on there for the next like 8, 10 hours, something like that, or like 15 hours a day. And the breaks are pretty useless, because no one is going to get up and walk around unless you actually feel like walking around. But most people are lazy and just sit there and watch YouTube or Netflix, you know, unless your parents pressure you to do something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm home alone, so it's great. I can do what I want.
Lucky.
Both my parents are home.
Lovely.
So lovely.
Well, I get the advantage with the virtual learning that I get to spend a whole week at my dad's, and I get to stay with the 2 dogs.
Sorry.
And then the other one is coming here.
Yeah. I wish I had dogs. I missed them.
Yeah.
How do you guys cope with like stress? Do you guys like stress eat? Do you like what do you guys do for like if you guys are really stressed?
I just go play sports or hang out with my horse.
I just go out with my friends or something.
Or cry. Crying works as well.
Yeah.
I've cried once last year,
That's good.
and that's just that wasn't even I wasn't even stressed. It was just kind of I think everything bottled up, and then all of a sudden everything just came out.
Yeah.
Which, like, so many people like they cry so often. I'm like, how are you guys able to cry? Because like I don't find crying bad, you know. But it's just like for me when I want to cry, it's just it doesn't work, and I'm just like, why? I want to cry.
Yeah.
And you have that one single tear, I'm like, okay, cool, great.
I cried.
Yeah, exactly.
So when did you find out you were dyslexic and had dysgraphia?
So in 5th grade, I got tested for the first time. I was kind of like, we were kind of pressured into doing this because my teacher had a hunch. And then the test couldn't really be accurate because I wasn't fluent in Dutch or in like really fluent in English. So it's like kind of like the test was kind of like it was a good indicator, right? That I had something, but it wasn't concrete. And then 8th grade, I had my second test, and then it was because my English was a lot better, so I had an English, and then it was like I was diagnosed with dyslexia and dysgraphia, which like at first I was kind of like, damn, you know, but then after I was like, but then I found out it was like I found it kind of advantageous, one could say, yeah. It was kind of like, oh, okay, so now I know why I struggle with things like these, and then if people ever say like, oh, you're so if you're so bad at this, I'll be like, well, no, really, I have, and it's kind of like, yeah, like I said before, an advantage.
Were you relieved when you found out?
And I was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, you know, it's like, it wasn't something special to me because like now I know why I'm struggling with like what I do.
Yeah.
But it's like, on the other hand, I'm kind of just there like sick, you know? I can't really do much about it. Life is life. This is how it is.
Yeah.
I just have to deal with it, really. That's what I thought.
Do you know if it like came from your mum and dad? Like for me, I got it from since I'm dyslexic, I got it from my mum since she's also dyslexic. So do you know?
Honestly, my mom, I think, had an evaluation when she was younger, and it was really similar to what like they said about me. So I think it comes from my mom, but it could also easily come from my dad. But
does it still take you a longer time to finish work?
No, I used to always be like one of the last people to like finish work. That's why I always like had so much homework, and then especially in tests, it took me a lot longer, right? And then now, if I'm always one of the first ones done, and that's kind of just me trying to finish as fast as possible, as everyone else was always finishing like before me. And it's kind of like that, and I think just speeding through tests isn't good, but I'm just not bothered with tests. And like I still pass, like I know the subject, but I might just misread something or like answer a question right, but then not what what's asking me to do. So like missing out on the 2 points or the like extra point. So I think I finish everything on time, and then it's just kind of not reviewing it is my biggest struggle at the moment.
Yeah. That's one reason you have a reader, so it makes it clear to you.
Yeah. So I can, because if I'm not in like that classroom, right,
Yeah.
I'm not pressured with what other people are doing, and like I give me more time to think about it. But then you have the fact that you don't know if you got the right answer or not, which kind of, because if you're reviewing it and then you say the right answer, it's like, yeah, you know it. I'm like, yeah, but it's very different when you're in a test. You have to make up your mind, and it's like,
yeah,
of course I know it, but it's like there's no point in really doing it. No.
It takes you time to figure out what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of sucks.
Yeah. At least we have the learning support room.
Yeah, but like still, it's like I'm still influenced with what other people are doing. You know, it's kind of like, oh, they finished. Like, oh, like I have to get ready, and you see the timer and stuff like that. So I kind of like, oh god. And even though we have like enough time to finish it, it still puts pressure. I still put pressure on myself to just finish it and get over and done with, and then I can just leave, and that's just not a good mindset.
So you feel pressured when you see someone else finish and leave. You're like, well, I want to leave too, so let's just do this even faster.
Exactly. And yeah, it's just, I think I'm not bothered by the time, but it's still like, oh, I have this much time. I should, and it should like, I shouldn't really worry about like the time and stuff like that. But I do. And I'm influenced by other people, which kind of sucks.
Has this been good for you, Floris? Oh.
Yeah, I get to talk about just struggles, and it's actually kind of nice. Like I don't really talk about it because I don't need to. No one really asks about it, so it's kind of like, it's kind of nice just having to talk about like what I go through and having other people having the same experience as me.
5th grade was when I was like actually diagnosed with it.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of tests before that. Like even in like K1, I had like I got tested and people kept telling me there's nothing wrong with me, and like my parents spent a lot of money on like the tests, and they've always said like, oh, there's nothing wrong with Floris. And it's like all of a sudden I go to ISL, they do a test, and then I find out I have dyslexia. It's kind of like, well, they're not doing their job, are they? Then they shouldn't be able to do their like tests.
Yeah.
So, which kind of like, yeah, my old teacher pressured like as well as like, oh, there's something wrong with me. All right. And tests kept coming back like, no, there's nothing wrong with him, which was kind of, which there wasn't, my parents didn't really like see it then, but like there were so many hints on like what I had, but yet like the test kept coming back like, no, there's nothing wrong with him. It's just kind of,
I think it's a little bit funny in a way to say that there's something wrong with you, like if there's something wrong with me, because it sounds like it's bad. Obviously it can be bad, but it just sounds like, you know, if a machine isn't working, it's something wrong with the machine, but we're human. But
yeah, I know what you mean. But like nowadays a lot more people are hiring people with like dyslexia or like learning disabilities just because they're more creative than people who don't, which is actually kind of good that the stigma behind like learning disabilities is kind of like going away.
Yeah. And I also believe it's illegal for someone not to hire you because you have a challenge.
Yeah. I actually don't know. But there's a lot of things that you aren't allowed to do anymore. Like in the workplace. Like you can't hire someone for specific reason just because they have a learning disability or because they're actually like they're mentally challenged or whatever, you know, like or if they are a woman or if they're black, white, Hispanic or whatever. So kind of that's a positive thing kind of coming out of our generation.
Yeah. I mean, there's more and more people being diagnosed with it. So
Yeah, and some of the best actors have it,
Mhm.
or like artists or scientists, like some of the best have it, and so it kind of like showing like, look, this is what we can do, even though you have a challenge, but you have a setback, you can overcome it because you're more creative than some people. So
Mhm.
this is what you could do, you know?
Yeah, like in Jurassic Park, E.T., Jaws, they were all directed by Steven Spielberg, who also has dyslexia, which is pretty cool.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And like Einstein, I think, had it as well,
Yeah,
you know? So it's kind of like,
apparently, but I don't know how
apparently,
he
I don't
got
know. But like, if you see figures like really big people having it, it's kind of like,
Mhm.
so
I think Tom
like it's not,
Cruise has it.
yeah, I think Angelina Jolie, I don't know, or I don't know who, but some like big actors, big names have it. It gives you kind of a confidence boost, kind of like thinking like, oh, this is not bad, even though your friends, like even though they're friends, like you
Mhm.
still kind of feel like an outsider if they make fun of what you have, right? But then it's like you don't. I don't really listen to that anymore. Like I've never actually have. I just go on with the joke as well. But it's like if you're an insecure person, it could really affect you, and just not thinking about what they're saying and just kind of looking at people who have it and then kind of seeing what they've done with their life and how they they've kind of overcome the challenge of being dyslexic or other like learning challenges, then it should be more of an inspiration, and you could say thankful for having it because it gives you it gives you, I don't know, better chances of doing something more creative. I really don't know what I'm saying at this point. Thank you so much for the just talking, actually. Yeah, it's really nice.
No problem. It was fun to talk to you too. I never talked like this with you before.
Never.
In the 6 years we've known each other,
Yeah, we don't, yeah, no, we've
it's
never.
kind of embarrassing.
Well, it was nice. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.